Welcome to Your Research Business Daily Report, sponsored today and all this week by Toluna, pioneer of social media-inspired panel communities and leading provider of new, innovative survey solutions. It's Monday, so maybe it's a mite early in the week to take on the substantive subject of employment opportunities for researchers. However, it's too important an issue for many looking for a job and others pondering greener pastures. Reeve Associates' Phil Reeve has provided RBDR viewers with concise, detailed overviews on hiring during the history of this video series. And today, we have highlights of what he sees happening now. There seems to be a contradiction, Phil, between what we're seeing happening on the Dow with explosive numbers, record profits and such for many companies, and lack of hiring. Explain what's really going on from the market research perspective of hiring.
Well, what we're seeing from hiring across the board, market research or not, is that companies are lean and mean, have been lean and mean for a long time. So therefore, I think their profits are increasing because they're just not paying people. And from the hiring perspective, as opposed to hiring those more expensive employees, what we've seen is a shift to hiring much more junior employees, even directly out of college or very junior, 1 or 2 years. And they're saying, look, we're going to deal with training them, which really means that the hiring manager is doing double duty and they're trying to do their job. They needed somebody mid-level, and they're having to get these junior people up to speed. But it's saving them money, and therefore they feel that this is going to end up helping, and which in the short term is helping, I think, in the profit area, but ultimately is going to turn out worse service and products when you have overworked, underpaid, or underskilled employees.
So when they tell you they want somebody who can come in and start running, really they're hiring people who can come in and start crawling.
Yes, I think that's a perfect description. The classic line is used. We want to hire somebody that can hit the ground running. But ultimately, as I was telling you before, history is repeated. And we see that the employees, when we look at them, ultimately are just hiring people half the amount of experience they said they needed to hire.
Okay. Is there any difference in the thought process or the expectations of the people they're looking to hire at this point? Are they any less willing to come on board and change jobs for something that isn't a really terrific promotion, that doesn't have a lot of extra money attached to it? Or are people basically just kind of sitting still and staying where they are?
Yes, pretty much they're sitting still and staying where they're at. I am always surprised at companies that we may target, call into, that we know there's a issue, let's say, at that company. And you'd think, great, we should have everybody sending us their resumes because there's a major shift or change, or they're being bought or something's occurring. But most of those people are still very afraid to make that change because there's great risk with changing a job. And unless there's great dissatisfaction in their role, they're looking to make a move for what they have not gotten and the amount of time and effort they put in their current role.
What's the buyer's expectation about where this is going to take them a year or 2 or 3 down the road?
I don't think anybody's even thinking that, and that's part of the problem. They're sitting there treading water, and that's what I see. I certainly have seen a greater desire to hire, it seems, but ultimately all that hiring is based around a need that was probably 6 to 8 months ago, and now they're in panic mode. It's like, we just got to get a body in here because they have the business, and they're trying to just get it done and out the door and then tread water until the next time.
One final note before we wrap things up for today. As a baseball fan living in Chicago, I couldn't resist telling you about the Chicago Cubs having slated market research to become more kid-friendly at Wrigley Field by creating a mascot. As a Mets fan, I can proudly point to Mr. Met, baseball's first mascot. And Cubs GM Theo Epstein broke almost 100 years of Boston Red Sox tradition when he introduced Wally the Green Monster in the 1990s. So what might Theo be thinking about potentially for the Cubs? A bear, a cub perhaps. Well, he can take a look back at Cubs history for some clues. In fact, all the way back to 1908, The last time the Chicago Cubs won a World Series. Mascot, World Series. World Series, Mascot. I see a link there, do you? That's your Research Business Daily Report, sponsored by Toluna, pioneer of social media-inspired panel communities and leading provider of new, innovative survey solutions. Have a great research day and join us again tomorrow.